What's up, everybody? We're back, man. Black Top Smack Talk, man. Today it's just me and Charlie, man. Charlie and me in beautiful Seattle, Washington. We're here, ready to hold up.
Oh God!
Hold on, I gotta finish my set.
Couple reps.
102. Oh. All right, my fault, man. I had to stop there really quick. Man, so Adam here, Black Top Smack Talk, man. We got Charlie in the house. Man, we got two special guests, man. We've been working on this for a minute. Two guys that we've been trying to lock down, and we finally did. We got two of my guys. We got two trainers who I've known for a long time. We got Chris Denina in the house, and then we got Mike Knight in the house. Fellas, how you guys doing?
Doing well. All things considered, for sure. Yeah, doing really well. Thanks for having us.
Oh, man. Thank you, man. Thank you for taking some time to come sit down, rap with us real quick, man. Just, give your followers and your fans a chance to get to know you a little bit and your journey through the world of through your professional career, which molded into training. So, man, first things first, what's a day in the life? Man, it's been such a crazy time since March, man. So what is a day for each of you? What does a day in the life look like? Just being quarantined, what's a typical day look like for you guys?
Definitely today and these times, it's definitely shifted. I've literally had to adapt to what's going on, and not training in gyms, and I had to start a virtual kind of platform with a lot of my clientele. And obviously, I still see some athletes one-on-one here and there. But, we had to be out of gyms, and you had to just, be creative and kind of set my home as a home studio now to train all my clients. You see I got a headset mic. But, yeah, I do a lot of my training virtually now still. I've been doing that for a couple of months now. But it was definitely a new skill that I had to learn, being behind a screen. You know what I mean? I was surprised on how many people actually was like open to do this kind of training,
right?
Especially including myself. But yeah, it's definitely different times. People are just trying to do what they can to stay in shape, and no gyms being open. It's just people are still doing what they can, But yeah, I definitely had to, it was a lot of problem solving, technically wise, to just make this a good kind of service to give out while still continuing to train and work. So
right.
Yeah, just to second my guy Chris. It's been a crazy time, and they're definitely sending prayers and blessings out to everybody. I know it's been just unlike any time we've had in history, just with quarantine and everything going on and all the social injustice issues that are arising. And so I think it's a lot's been going on. My model's changed for sure, similar to Chris, just a lot of online work and doing a lot of growth behind the business with rebar training and building a skill development app and things of that nature to try to reach those that I can't reach. And working with a few athletes here and there, but really, these times have, changed things for everybody. But I do think, it's helped me turn my hustle up and, adjust and, do things, differently. Somebody takes one shot away, you got to, try to get the ball in the basket another. And I just think it's
right.
That kind of mentality and, making lemonade out of lemons, So,
right, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So, man, talk to us about, you guys were both athletes growing up. Was there in your respective fields or sports, was there an athlete or somebody that you really looked up to or wanted to be like? Mike, I know you hooped and whatnot, and Chris, I know you had your hand in multiple sports. So is there a particular athlete that you kind of look up to growing up?
I mean, I played basketball when I was younger. I swam, I ran track. Big fan of Michael Johnson, obviously Jordan growing up. Just handful. Roy Jones Jr. was a big guy. I got into boxing later on in life. He was a big inspiration to me. And yeah, man, I just, they're my examples of like how to just mentality wise and
Right.
just how they carried themselves and their accolades. But yeah.
Yeah, hoop wise for me, I mean, obviously Michael Jordan. I grew up in that era, and I actually moved to Seattle. When I was going into high school and whatnot, and but I grew up. My family's from New York and North Carolina, and I was born in Iowa. I was born in Iowa City, Iowa, and my parents were young in their careers there, and we were in the Midwest for a lot of my younger years, and yeah, so I was right next to Chicago in terms of just fan base and just love the Bulls, and so I really grew up in that era. And I know y'all saw that Last Dance documentary.
Oh,
yeah,
Loved it.
yeah, that was special. That was special, very nostalgic. But yeah, I mean, Jordan was my guy for sure growing up, and I think a lot of his influence, we've seen in culture, and I try to carry with me because I think it's just impactful in terms of a brand, training, mentality, business, just all of it. So yeah, he was definitely who I looked up to.
And who didn't wear his shoes, man? We all
Right.
Oh, come on now.
We all wanted his
Jordan's
shoes, right?
every day. Jordan's every day. Yeah.
So growing up, kind of out there with that Chicago life, what was your like idea of the Sonics? What did you feel about the Sonics over there, GP and Kemp?
Oh, obviously, I mean, I love GP, GP and Sean Kemp. I had a lot of love and respect for them. I mean, Ken Griffey Jr. had me contemplating if I was even going to play hoop and, if I wanted to play baseball. So, I mean, for a hot second. So I had a lot of love and respect for Seattle. And, I was out here low key as a young guy. We almost moved out here when I was, young, like 10 or 11. So I was familiar. And I just, knew the city was unique, and, knew it had a lot of rich culture, and especially like basketball culture too. So yeah.
Okay.
A lot of respect.
Yeah. Chris, you said you swam, you played some hoop, you did some track. Tell us a little bit about your, high school athlete experiences. Where'd you play at and all that?
Mariner freshman year, and then I did track, and then I swam for them. But yeah, most of my athletics happened in high school, and then after that, I just try to keep in shape in college. I didn't really play any sports in college at all. Just life, just figuring yourself out when you're younger. And, I did multi-sports. I liked, kind of being well-rounded, and I just like learning new things and learning new skills. That's just the type of person I was when I was younger. But yeah, I played freshman year very briefly. And then honestly, I got into breakdancing heavily.
Oh, okay.
And that was like addicting. That was an addiction during my high school years. I still swam, I ran track, and 3 years, and that was my sports career. And then kind of athletics and kind of the fitness industry came like later, like right after college is when I started to get really deep into it. So, I don't have that long-standing college sports career, but I definitely took on that mentality of my roots, being an athlete, when I incorporate what I do here in the fitness industry. So.
Well, Mike, you play. I kind of remember when you transferred into prep. I don't know, like, oh, prep's got some new guy. He's pretty nice. And then, but yeah, so you played at prep. You were all Metro. Tell us a little bit about your time at prep. You got to play with what Bond and Day and.
So I was like right after Bond and Day.
Oh, okay.
Overlap with Tav.
Tav and Rickard.
Martell. Played with Spencer, Chad Troyer.
Did you play with my guy?
Good squad.
Did you play with my guy Caleb at all, or were you just after Caleb?
Just after K. After K. Yeah. I like, but I knew all those guys as I came in. Going into my sophomore year, and really was just sort of adopted in the hoop culture here. I started working out. I was actually enrolled at O'Day. I was supposed to go there, but I started working out at St. Joe's, and I was and everybody was up there hooping, and I connected with some of the guys who were up at prep, like Tell and Chad, who were more my age, and Tav and just rest in peace, Lou Hobson, who was a great man to me, great OG to me, and looked out for me when I got into Seattle. And so I just got a lot of love. And there's always so many other schools and so many other hoopers in that gym. So there's a lot of training culture that was really amazing for me to just move and week one fall into. Honestly, don't know where I would have been without that kind of acceptance, adoption, and just bring in to what was going on here. So that was great. I had a great route with basketball from my upbringing, and to be carrying it over from some of the Seattle spaces here was great. And then I bounced around in college. Went to UMBC my freshman year, and transferred after that to St. Petersburg College, JC down in Florida. And I went to University of Albany in New York, and then finished at Seattle U, and played overseas. Gosh, just have 3-4 seasons overseas, and it's been just a journey. I've always been in the skill development, and so I was kind of a savant about learning how to get better as a basketball player, and then running into some injuries and things that I needed to work better in my body. Kind of got me more into the mechanics and the functional side of things, and led me to meet my training mentor, Tim Manson. He really opened my eyes when I thought I was done playing professionally. I had a training with him. He was able to show me a way to manage that and work through it. And I kind of led to the business that we're in now with rebar training, and we've really been growing that and scaling with that, and launching multiple tools and different methodologies around training. So it's been a beautiful journey, athletics and just basketball, what it's given me, and being just a student of the game and staying down. I think I've learned a lot. It's just blessed me in my journey, and we got more to do. I got a lot of love and respect for Chris, and I can't thank you guys enough for having me and him on. And Chris is one of the guys in the industry I just really look up to, and like his temperament. I think his pace and his energy is really good out here, and it's an honor to be on here with you guys and with him. So
I love what you guys do with rebar too. I've done stuff
thank you
guys with the rebar in the past, and you guys are doing amazing things, man. Amazing.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Just gotta keep it going.
Thank you.
Well, that's dope. That kind of ties into our next thing is, Mike, you talked about why you kind of started getting into the training business. Chris, what got you started in it? Because I know, man, when I met you, dog, I think we were working at the mall or something. You were at Alderwood, and we knew like hella mutual friends. So before you started getting into the training world, bro, what were you doing? And then what caused you to want to go to that career path?
Well, I mean, obviously, in my 20s and through college, I've always been like in the gym, like doing my thing in the gym. But I never actually thought to be a trainer at all. I was in 24-hour fitness. I was a member there, and I kind of had this cliche of like that's how trainers were. No disrespect to them, you know what I mean? Everyone has to start somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. I just didn't see myself training people at that when I, in my mid-20s. And then I started to get deep into it. People started kind of following the things that I did at the gym, and I never really considered myself a trainer. And then obviously I worked for AT&T. I was an analyst at AT&T. Good job, desk behind a desk. Salary, just easy, but I just wasn't happy. It's just like, it's gonna be the rest of my life sitting behind this cubicle, you know what I mean? Right. And ironically, 2 weeks later, my dad had a stroke, and he had two actually, and it runs in the family. Like, it's serious. Like, his two brothers had strokes, so it was like really close as far as in the genes of our family and all that in history. And so it was kind of a scary time, your pops went through that. He survived, and then he had to learn how to walk and talk again. And I remember that day when he was going through physical therapy. This physical therapist was teaching him how to walk. No equipment. I've never seen this type of gym environment before, where it just had a lot of functional toys. You got stability balls, TRXs. At the time, I didn't know what the TRX was. This is when it was kind of new. Analogy is just open space, functional kind of gym, right? But it was like for the demographics of people who are recovering from things like a stroke or anything like that. It was like kind of like in a hospital environment. And seeing that, I was like inspired. Like I would, you know, it's obviously when your pops is there and you're there with him doing this stuff, supporting him. And then you see this person helping your dad out, and then the things that she's doing. I was like, I would love to do this type of stuff for people. And that was that just set a fire in me to be like, you know, and so I talked to her, I said, hey, what do you do? Like, is this what you do for a living? She's like, yeah, I'm a physical therapist. She goes, you know, it takes like 7 years to do this of schooling. But you know what? You know, you should become a trainer. You could do the same thing. Just educate yourself in whatever way, because you're never going to stop learning. And you can directly go into this type of path. And then it just kind of evolved from there. Like literally 2 weeks later from that day she told me that, I just couldn't stop thinking about that. So I just Googled schools.
Right.
I'm gonna get myself back into school because I'm not gonna be like that weekend certification guy and, you know, and then be like, oh, I'm a trainer, you know. I wanted to feel like that I put in time to work with people one-on-one again, you know, because I was behind a desk and socially, you know, I felt like I didn't have that skill yet. You know, to be a good trainer, I learned you just got to be good with people. You got to be really good with people. You know, listen, obviously do your education and know, you know, body mechanics and all that stuff. But yeah, 2 weeks later, I looked for a school. I was just online at work. And I'm like, man, I found a school and went for a year. I worked in the morning, then went to school at night, taking the bus into downtown, you know, and from there, I had to start somewhere. And one day we were at a gym in downtown Seattle. It was called Seattle Executive Fitness, right downtown. It's not there anymore. But the nice thing that I chose this school is that we were able to have test clients, like one-on-one. So as students, we get to work with people. And I like that because I needed that hands-on experience.
Right.
And so, you know, they saw me working with some of the test clients that this gym provided us. And the gym came to me like, hey, man, like, we love what you're doing with these clients, and we would love for you to be potentially part of our team. And so I was like, wow, you know, like, I was very, I honored that they asked me, you know what I mean? Because I'm thinking, like, I'm still learning, right? And I'm a student. And so I was like, hey, this is my opportunity to start somewhere, you know, even though it's at a gym, it was a health club. I need to start somewhere, you know what I mean? And so I took that on right after school. I hit him up, and you know, I was around very, very, very educated trainers. You know, it was a little intimidating. You know, I'm around trainers that has masters 4-year and, you know, and kinesiology, and here I am coming from a 1-year technical. But at the end of the day, I learned, you know, a lot of that stuff. Education is very important. Don't get me wrong. But that doesn't mean anything once you get into the field, you know? And so I was fortunate to be around very, very educated trainers and just learn. And things kind of progressed from there. My goal was to go independent. I did, you know, it was hard, you know, it was really hard. I just had to make the jump of changing careers. You know, I had to make that sacrifice. My checks were not, I might as well be working a retail job somewhere, you know what I'm saying? So, but it was a sacrifice that I knew I had to take. And I knew the reason for me going there, that choice, I had to trust that choice. And I said, you know what, I'm going to run with this and I'm never going to turn back. You know, and unfortunately, my wife was very supportive and I never turned back ever since. I said, I'm going to keep doing this until I just create things. And I did. Things just kind of progressed after that. One opportunity led to another. I think when you make a decision that you're scared of and you just run with it, you're going to continue to make those type of decisions, not be so scared and second guess yourself. I think that's the decision to just jump into this industry and knowing that you don't know what's to come, you know, you're going to start over literally your whole career, you know? And I think from there, it really forced me to just look at different opportunities that came my way. And that's just how things kind of progressed. And here I am today, you know? So come almost a little over 10 years later,
That's what's up.
I still feel like I'm still in the beginning. I'm still learning new things. So, and I love the choice that I made. I'm, and that, like I said, I never turn back.
Right.
Yeah.
Mike, real quick, man. I know you got another call, or you got to jump on real quick with something else, which probably isn't as important as our interview, but
oh man, this is important. Happy to be here.
Man, just real quick, man. Talk to us about Rebar. We know you are one of the co-founders, I believe, with Tim Manson, legendary trainer, and I believe Doug Christie also. So just kind of give us a brief overview of Rebar and how that kind of came as quick as you can before you got to jump off, as quick as you can, and just trying to talk to us about it and how it came about and the progress you've made with it.
Yeah. So basically, Tim is, the guru, the sensei in this area for a lot of the athletes. His rapport is just amazing. And, he really understands how to coach a certain level of motivation and just, mental endurance, as well as attacking like the weaknesses and like the intrinsic areas, the small areas. And I found, Tim by necessity. I had to find him because I was just breaking down. I kept running into walls, training wise. And so he, and he, through his genius, was seeing all of the issues that athletes were coming in with. There was all this major strength that they had, macro strength, but all the micro, small areas were weak. Guys could hold a crazy bench press for like, 315, but they couldn't hold a 30-pound weight over their head and walk to the, front door. And he was seeing how there's all these stability issues and things that people needed to work on, and more of a therapeutic mindset around the strength and conditioning. And so I had been training with him and had been convinced that, his stuff was really good. And then I was playing in France, and I was in a off-season training with him, and he just broke out a prototype version of the Rebar. And, I started talking about the business behind it, and, he had the patenting and, had gotten to a certain level, but hadn't gotten through. And so I got involved, and, we, through years and, trial and error and a lot of ups and downs, we, were able to get into market. And it's really cool now because we've scaled, and we have a whole methodology now. We're actually getting ready to launch a smaller bar called the Omega Pro, which is, more for kids and women. And we have a whole, band series system, like a stretching system, single band series, and then, online on demand stuff that people can tap into, and, subscription workouts and, things of that nature. And we've really been just leveling our game up, just trying to, do what we can in these times. But, the business has been growing. It's something that people are tapping into, and, we feel really, blessed to, be able to do what we're doing, and, connecting the dots and passion and, helping people and movement. So it's, coming together. But if y'all have any questions, and if anybody else does and wants to follow up on anything like that, just let me know.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. It's exciting. I remember when you were playing overseas, we were talking during that time, and then just kind of see you evolve with your business. And then it's just been a real cool thing to see. I see a lot of my guys, a lot of my friends, and my former players who I've coached, they've been using it. I seen Chris was doing it also, getting it in. So it's been successful, and I can only see it going up from here. So, man, congratulations with that, bro. It's a dope concept, and it's real cool.
I'll circle back with you guys. After this call, we'll all four of us, we should link and just do a little social distance workout in a park or something like that, man.
Oh yeah,
that'd be love.
I'm with it.
I'll hit you guys up on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I gotta hop, fellas, but I appreciate you guys, man. Many blessings to you all, and thanks for having me on. And I'll make sure I tap in and circle back about that workout. I'll hit you guys a little later today. But love what you guys are doing. Keep up the good work, and we'll wrap soon.
All right, appreciate it, Mike, man. God bless, man. Take care.
Yep, thanks, fellas. Peace.
All right, bro. Yep. So I was gonna ask Chris. Like you said, it's been about 10 years. How would you say you went about growing your clientele?
It started at that gym, right? I said, I don't want to work at 24 Hour Fitness. When I started, like, no disrespect to trainers there, but I worked out there. you know,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to.
Alderwood, right?
Alderwood, that's my
Yeah, I remember.
ground, baby. Everybody came from there, though. I feel like
I remember, bro. You were there.
Yep. I even attempted to try to come back and hoop too. I was like, oh man, you guys are running circles around me because I was weights heavy then, and yeah, man. I didn't want to work at a gym that I worked at, and so I chose a health club that was just kind of a different environment, and I read all the descriptions of each trainer. And some trainers were D1 athletes. One played basketball in Europe. His name was Brent. I forgot his last name, man. Older cat. It's been a long time. But I was like, man, I want to learn, as an entry level trainer from these guys. And
right.
I learned a lot. And then growing my clientele. One thing is I said, how am I come into this industry and just be catchy? Besides everyone else has different things, right? Everyone has, if you're going to be a good trainer, you develop your own philosophy eventually, things that you stand by based on everything you have done and based on the results that people have seen and different types of things. And I took on boxing early on in my 20s before I started training. And I fell in love with how hard it was, first of all. Like boxing training is crazy. Like I started hitting the weights, it's like a new challenge, hitting the weights. And I was like, you get bored doing certain things over and over. So I was like, man, I need to take something else on. And so I was like, I found a boxing gym and I started training in there and I just fell in love with it. And I took that on, and coming into being a trainer, I was like, I'm going to make boxing one of my niches. Because it's going to be pretty rare to be in a gym for someone to be like, not like a fitness Taibo boxing, but like for real boxing, like based on the things I learned and the coaches that I learned from. Right. And I just kind of implemented that, and people just started to catch on to that. Like, oh, who's that trainer that boxes? Who's that trainer that boxes? And it's made me stick out. And so I became that trainer that everyone wanted to box with, and they just stuck with me. And I was fortunate enough when I wanted to make the move, they followed me, and that was my kind of foundation of being independent. Obviously, I had to grow from there and just learn like how to run your own business and being independent. But that's how that grew, and then just word of mouth got around, and then me working with certain people. I used to work at this gym. It used to be called NS Performance. Now it's called Athletic Forum. Mm-hmm. Right there by the stadium, and kinds of athletes going in there. All UW, you got some pro guys going in there, and I was shadowing a lot of trainers in sports performance, because that's kind of what I really wanted to get deep into, besides all the other styles of trainings that I do. And I had a lot of athletes. I was like, hey man, let me hit the mitts with you. Let me hit the mitts, and that's how it kind of started, and then it just kind of grew from there. So boxing has been kind of my niche with training, besides all the other things that I do. You know what I mean? So it just took off from there. So
right. I guess we can kind of tie it back, and this can kind of tie into boxing also. What would you feel as though like is your big like breakthrough in training? Like you said you started off at executive fitness, and then you decided you wanted to branch off and start your own thing. And then you got a gig where you do the interactive thing, where you're one of the main trainers in the interactive, what was it called? Interactive fitness. You're an interactive fitness trainer. So what would you say is like, what was your breakthrough moment where you've kind of like, dang man, this is it. Like I'm really like elite in this profession.
Right. Well, it first started like you don't really, one of my goals was I always wanted to be like one of those guys that were like on Xbox or something, you know what I mean? On that fitness behind, like, how do you get to that kind of gig? Right. Some type of like interactive or like on TV, just for the experience, mm-hmm. right? Cause I wanted to experience, I'm all about like, what else do I want to experience being in this industry? Cause sometimes you just got to create yourself opportunities. Right. You know what I mean? And whether that, linking up with people in the tech world to do these kind of things. But I was hit up one day. They saw my profile on LinkedIn by this guy on Facebook, and he left Facebook to start an app, a fitness app. He goes, "Hey, I got into your Instagram. I saw what you do, and I would love to link up with you about a fitness app that I want to do." And I was, at first I was like, "Is this guy for real or this and that?" I said, "Hey, let's meet up. Why don't we meet?" So we met, and he told me about it, everything that he wanted to do, and he was a real tech guy, and he was into fitness, and he wanted to use me as like the brains behind some of the exercises and to be on camera, and I've never done that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I would love to learn, just do something like that. And one of the things that I learned is it wasn't about the money for me, right? Like that stuff comes when you work hard and all that stuff, but it was more for the experience. Like I want to experience just doing that. Right. How does that feel being in that process of like filming and all that stuff? And I didn't ask for money, right? I was like, I'm down to do this. I didn't say, well, how much is it, right? And I think that's what he liked, right? Even though they took care of me, but I've always made it clear that just don't do things for money. Do things for the experience. Opportunities will come, and that's when it opened doors to be like, dang, there are so many things you can get into in the fitness industry. So many. Like there's just a plethora of different. I've trained so one of my clients. You just kind of see opportunities. One of my clients works for Act Theater. They're like on the what do you call it? It's like the group of people who plan out all the plays.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Act Theater. And I was referred to them because I do the boxing to train an actor in the play to play an old school boxer, Jack Johnson.
Oh, okay.
Old Hall of Fame heavyweight, first African-American heavyweight champion back in 1910, right? It was a story about him. And I was like, damn, that sounds cool. You know what I mean? So they're like, would you be willing to be his boxing trainer for this play? And I won't say no. I'm like,
right.
Absolutely. I would love to be a part of that. And, I just didn't say no. Any opportunity I saw, I didn't say no. And that was a really unique experience to be a part of that whole sequence of like, choreography and teaching them. I had to really study Jack Johnson's life. So I like read his biography and watched videos on him just to kind of engulf myself in that role that he has to play. But just things like that, man, just, these things that you just never know what comes to you. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Since you do the boxing and do the regular training,
yeah.
How would you say you talked about philosophies earlier? How would you say your philosophies maybe differ for each, or how do they correlate, I guess?
Well, one, I treat everyone. There's different levels of fitness. You got somebody who's regressed, beginner, somebody who's intermediate, and someone who's real athletic, right? Or, but everyone has something to work on, right? But for me, if you just work on a lot of how they movement, right? That's going to be the most important aspect. And they all relate to everyone. Like whether you're a high profile athlete or whether you are someone who isn't an athlete, everyone has to work on something. Everyone has deficiencies in how they move.
Right.
But I always keep things functional. You know what I mean? Like, no one's trying to be a bodybuilder. Strength is a real huge aspect of training yourself to be in shape, is to keep your body strong. Not necessarily bench pressing and everything like that, but just with your own body. And a lot of it too is mental, man. Like a lot of these people, you really gotta, there's a lot of life metaphors in everything that they do. So it's a lot of changing their habits in life, you know what I mean?
Right.
And how they live every day, when you get up, like, fitness, like, and being active is a very small portion of having everything together in your life. I always say it's always important to be good here first before getting into something, and to getting in shape, but I always make that a huge aspect of, how are you mentally and why do you want to do this, right? What's your purpose, and then we go from there. So that's how I make the connection with either a client or, athletes, whoever it is.
Right. So you've kind of done, you became a boxing coach, and then you were kind of like, you're built like an action figure, like a Filipino action figure, bro. And that's with all due respect. I got a lot of love for you, dog. It's not a weird thing. You're pretty built. That kind of tied you into competing in the Emerald Cup, which for people don't know, it's the bodybuilding, was like the bodybuilding World Cup of Seattle or something like that. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
How did that come about, and how has all your training from leading up to that moment, how did that kind of all tying together to lead you to
bodybuilding,
competing in that?
Yeah. When I was in school, you're bound to be around people who compete. That's just a popular thing when it comes to trainers. Like, it's just a lot of trainers like have competed in fitness shows. And I knew nothing about that. I was like, and people were like, man, you should think about competing. I was like, me? Absolutely not. I cannot look like those guys on stage. Absolutely not. And so one guy competed, this guy, Antonio. His body's like T.O., bro. He's 6'4", shredded, and he's just natural. Like, his genetics were naturally. And he was going to compete at Emerald Cup for like one of his first shows. And he was a student with me. And, he would show his pictures and like, damn, bro, like just all shredded on stage. And he goes, bro, you should compete. I was like, man, I can't. I can't hang with you guys up there on stage. And we would partner up all the time. We got close in school, and then he just kept talking to me about drilling me. Bro, just do one show. You don't know until you do it, right? And he was talking about, and it'll be an experience for you. And I said, all right, maybe I'll experience. I'll just say it because I did it.
Right.
Because it is a huge aspect of being in this industry where you got a lot of people who want to bodybuild, right? And so, can you develop that skill set to train somebody to actually do that? Besides, like, all the bodybuilding you did on your own, like training for a show, right? So it's like, okay, let's learn how to do that so I can train somebody to do that also. So I said, I'm going to learn to do that purposely. So I had that experience coming in as a trainer. And so I did a show. I got hooked up with like a coach. I had no idea what I was doing, man. I did the, all the posing and all that stuff. And, I did my own nutrition because they say hire nutritionist. I just looked up stuff on what to do, nutritionist. And I did what I could to get ready for a show. So my first show was in Shelton, Washington. And man, I was nervous as hell, man. I don't know what the hell I was doing. But I get there, and we go through the whole thing. To make a long story short, I ended up winning the whole fucking show.
Oh,
and
shit.
I stood next to, so I said, I'm not going to do this show. So to rewind, Antonio, the guy that I went to school with,
I
said, I'm going to do a show, but you got to do the show with me. So I have a homie there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be alone. So we did it together. We got a hotel down there. We stayed together. So it made it comfortable for me. He was obviously in a different height class. So in the category I'm in, they do it by height. And so he's in the taller class. I was in the shorter class. And so we both made it to the finals. So I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this really here right now with you? I got to stand next to you. I was like, there's no way I'm gonna. So there's 3 finalists. There's 3 different categories, height. And so I'm sitting there. We got pictures of this, man, standing next to each other in the finals. And I'm like, what is going on right now? Am I really here in the finals? And I ended up winning. And he kept calling, like, bro, you're going to win this show. I was like, no, hell no. I'm not going to stand win next to you. And so anyways, I ended up winning that whole show. Come home. My wife, she wasn't able to make it, but I come home with all these trophies. And I was like, And then so the coach I was with, she's like, you might want to take this, you might want to consider doing this again. And I was like, all right, I mean, we'll see. And one show led to another, into another, into another, and then it got addicting. Like, here's one thing: winning is addicting.
I was gonna say,
you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
When you win, you want that feeling again.
Exactly.
You know, I don't know if it's like that selfish side of you, but to say, you know, obviously it evolved in your purpose in doing that. But you get competitive too, and it's a weird way of competing. Honestly, bodybuilding is you against you. It's not you against the guys you stand next to. It's you versus you. If you're smart, you go against yourself every single show, and that's how you do well. And then I just surrounded myself around guys who were just really good doing these shows. And I mean, obviously you get more seasoned. The more shows you do, you get more experience. You get more comfortable being on stage. You get smarter the way you train. You get more experienced. You know, I got in first place a couple of times, and you just want to do it again. And then it gets to a point where you kind of like, damn, this is getting tiring. It's hard to do this.
Yeah.
Dieting for months. And just, I needed a break. It was just mentally draining too. It took a lot out. And I said, I don't know if I'm going to compete again. I took a break. And then I ended up coaching a guy. So fast forward, I ended up coaching a couple of people, and I coached the guy to be at Emerald Cup. And so it's been 2 years since I was at Emerald Cup. At Emerald Cup, the highest, when I got there, the highest I got to was second. So, you know, Emerald Cup is a different beast. You win a show, you go to Emerald Cup the first time, you don't even get looked at. Emerald Cup is like a whole different ball game. It's like nationals. Yeah. So, you know, I experienced being 10th place, and you get down, you're like, I don't belong here. And then you're like, nope, I think I could do this again. So I did Emerald Cup 4 years in a row. Like I didn't place, I got second. And then when I got second, I'm like, okay, I belong here. I could do this. Then I went again, and I got second again. And that was painful. That was a painful second. It's like, I didn't really progress. And that's when I took years off. I was like, man, I can't compete. This is too much. Why? Like, and so anyways, I coached the guy. I was backstage with the guy. And then that kind of competitive juices were coming into me. Like,
yeah.
I want to do this again. Like, I wish I was here with you guys. Cause you meet some people throughout the years of competing. And so, I mean, my last show that I did, I wanted to do one more show. And I wanted to do this to just challenge me mentally and work the hardest I've ever worked. And this is all purposely to kind of train myself in my next ventures that I wanted to get into in the fitness industry, and all my goals that I wanted to do. So it was all symbolic. It wasn't really about getting that trophy. It was just like work. I had to work hard. I had to compete and work and train for something, get my life regimented back to, like, you know, getting into a schedule of training, and then shoot to be first. And it was a task, right? I got to get this first now. I was here years ago, but there's no other way to go except to go right back up. You can't get set. You can't go back, maybe backwards. So I hired myself a nutritionist. I went all out. I was like, man, I hired this professional bodybuilder who did all my nutrition. And, you know, it was I did it for 6 months. It was the hardest 6 months. I went early. I said, most guys train 3 months. I'm going to be that guy that trains the longest out of everyone else. At least I'm going to make myself feel like that. As long as I believe that, shit, I'm good.
Right.
So I trained for fucking 6 months, bro. It was the hardest shit ever. And it was just a long tunnel. Anyhow, after that, bro, I ended up getting first. Like, it was.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that was my last show, and that's it. Like, I even made this motto, like when Kobe retired.
Yeah.
Kobe's my dude. So we go to basketball, you know, Kobe was my guy. I loved his mentality, Kobe mentality, right? And this is when he retired. And I wore a Kobe hat at the competition. So it was just my own mentality coming in for myself. I was like some Zen shit. I didn't talk to anybody. I took myself away from everybody, but I wore my Kobe hat, right? I said Mamba mentality. I'm going to go out like Kobe, right? I'm going to go out like Kobe. I kept telling myself that shit, man. I did so many different things to train to. I didn't listen to music. I listened to fucking Ray Lewis talking to me hitting the weights, you know, people talking. I didn't listen to music, bro, because
Right.
it was all here, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you know,
Motivation.
what's that?
Just like, yeah, straight motivation.
Straight motivation, bro. It's all here, man. Everything is all mental, bro.
Right.
So
Yep.
getting into that, I was just coming in. I was comfortable being on that stage. I felt like I was a veteran too, because I was going against some really younger dudes coming in. You know, I started in the categories in men's physique. It started in 2012. I was in the very beginning of that category. It's a new category, and it got popular.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, you go against guys who were, you know, I was at the time, I was in 33, 34. I'm going against young 24-year-olds. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, I'm coming in. I'm the OG coming into this game, in this show. You know, and you know, I kept amping myself up. And when I did it, bro, and I called all the finalists and I ended up getting first, it was like a long road. I was like, that was my last, and I got emotional on stage. Like, but it was more emotional, not because of getting first. It was more like when you set yourself to do something and you work your ass off and you like dig in your heart and soul, like you go through some emotions. Like, I was going through some breakdowns.
Yeah.
And that sounds weird because bodybuilding, but this is behind the scenes of prepping yourself for anything, right? It can be anything, any sport, right? But I said, I gotta fucking rip my soul out of this shit. And it was just like the person you become. I was like, okay, this is it. I'm ready to take on whatever challenges now to come in I wanted to focus on my career too. I don't want to compete anymore and just come into this industry like a monster now, you know, take on anything, you know, I can do anything, you know what I'm saying? That's why I did it, you know? So that was my bodybuilding kind of career during being a trainer, you know. It just went on from there. So yeah, I did the bodybuilding. I've done a lot. I like learning new things, you know? Yeah.
No, that's cool. It's kind of like you can see what ties in, like with just fitness in general, whether it's a diet or just working out. Like when you transition from AT&T to this world, you had to commit, you know, and everything you did, you just 100% commit. Like when you decided, you know, 6 months, I'm committing all the way. Because that was going to be my question is, like for that Shelton show, like how many months prior to that show do you say I'm committing to doing the show? Was it just like 2 or 3 months at that point?
It was a little over 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
I was like, experience. I'm like, all right, I got like 2 months to prep, and I wasn't like super strict on my diet. I would cheat here and there because I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
And that's why when I won, I was like, what the fuck, really? And it just that's when it all started. That juice started. You know, that's, you know, when I get addicted, I don't have addictive personality, but I mean, I guess everyone kind of does to a certain extent.
Yeah, right.
Depends on what it is. But whatever it does to you mentally, like you want to hold on to that, you know, and I feel like this is really helping me here right now. And so it's just, yeah, you learn as you go though, but that's the most important thing is you learn, you get smarter about the things that you do, you know. Same thing, that's the way I train, you know. You eventually get smarter on the way you train your people, you know. You don't necessarily have to do a lot of things you used to do, you know, when you first started training. I made a lot of mistakes with people, you know, but that's what it took to get to where I'm at now. But I'm continuing to learn, especially when you deal with like a high profile athlete, you know what I mean? You got to be on top of your game. You got to know your shit. But you have to have gone through some processes to get to that point, you know?
Exactly.
Yep.
So yeah, like you mentioned high profile athlete. If people don't know, you're training Nate Robb, you know, for his big fight coming up. But you've been training Nate before that. How did you, you know, develop that relationship with Nate? You know, for someone who's like I would say he's one of the most athletic people in sports, period. Like all around, you know, like, I mean, if he was 6'7" like LeBron, I mean, I think it'd be unanimous. He'd be the most athletic player.
Yeah.
But yeah, how did that develop? You know?
So when I was at that gym at Ennis Performance, that's where Nate was training, and I was good friends with his then sports performance coach then, and he saw me hitting mitts with somebody there, and you know, that fellow trainer came up to me. He's like, "Bro, you know, Nate wants to hit the mitts with you." I'm like, you know, I'm not gonna say, yeah, of course, yeah, let's hit the mitts, bro. So that's when it started, and we just kind of developed a relationship with there. You know, Nate's a cool dude, real down to earth guy, man. All about his hometown, Seattle, which is what I love. You know what I mean? Just very grounded. And you know, you got to the point where, you know, you don't see Nate or
Yeah.
Robinson. You just see Nate for Nate. And, you know, I treated him like that. You know what I mean? And I think he liked that. And he fell in love with the boxing. He utilized boxing. One thing about boxing is a good cross-training method for any athlete. I don't care what sport it is. You can do whatever sport. Boxing teaches you so many good skills. And he fell in love with, you know, Nate got some hands, naturally. Nate got some hands. But you know, I showed him how to box technically. And he, you know, Nate really works hard. He's very competitive, but not only competitive, but he's very competitive with himself. So he wants to get this shit down. You know what I mean? And so we started hitting the mitts, and he utilized that because, you know, he was still active at the time too. I mean, still he played.
Was this a couple years ago, or when did this first start
like
happening?
7 years ago.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, 7 years ago. And you know, he played overseas.
Yep.
He was at the Pelicans briefly. But you know, he was still considered athlete during that time, or active. And yeah, we hit the mitts, and he utilized me for boxing. And then he also was like, bro, can I come to you for some of my performance stuff? It's like, man, yeah, let's do it. And so, you know, I started taking on that task too. You know, he started coming to me for more of that. And that was like my first experience that I would say with like a professional athlete, working with him. And
you went from no professional athlete to maybe like the most athletic professional athlete ever.
I appreciate that, man. You gotta practice what you preach, man. You gotta.
So yeah, if y'all watching this, you know, Nate believes in him.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he could change you too.
Yeah. So I never put Nate through anything I've never done.
Oh.
To do everything that I tell Nate to do. It's really important because it won't come out right, you know. And,
right.
Yeah, Nate is he can do anything, and one of his goals is he wants to show the world that he's one of the best athletes in the world. So he's jumping into to be in a pro boxing fight, you know.
Right.
And
are you going to be there, like ringside with him?
Yeah, I'm going to be in his corner.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's, you know, me being with him with boxing, he goes, I'm comfortable. He's comfortable with me, and he wants comfortable people around him. You know, they're obviously a good collective team that we have going. But yeah, I'm working closely with Nate on his to get him ready for a fight. And this was different now. This one's a different beast. You know, this one is not. We're not just training to keep you in shape as an athlete. Now you got to really take on that role as a professional boxer. Now you got to actually train. Now we actually have to be in a training camp. So we got a training camp set up for Nate. Honestly, I didn't know who Jake Paul was.
I didn't either.
But he seems to be this popular YouTuber now. Now I know who he is, obviously, because I've watched his brother fight.
Logan Paul.
Yeah, they became professional boxers. And now, you know, I mean, obviously, there's some little bit of money to be made there to make this fight happen. But you know, Nate, if there's any athlete that can do something like this, I mean, it's Nate.
Right.
Athlete I can think of, man. And Nate's can take on any sport, man. He's super athletic.
Right.
So, but yeah, we got to get him ready. September 12th is when the fight is, under Mike Tyson's undercard. Well, he's the co-main event, which is nuts. But,
so they're the co-main event. Nate is.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nate,
wow.
This is Jake, co-main event.
Now, what is that going to be on? What is that going to be on? Is that going to be on pay-per-view, or how is that going to be?
Yeah, so it's ran through Mike Tyson created this called Legends League, and I'm not quite sure whether it's just boxing, but he wants to give the opportunity to retired athletes or any other athlete to, I believe, take on, I think it's boxing, and he's running this whole thing. I think he's promoting this whole thing. But yeah, I mean, I still know there's more details as far as the fight goes. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm still in awe of what's going on.
Is there going to be like a TV show leading up to it, kind of?
Oh yeah. So Pay-per-view, it is gonna be pay-per-view. I know that they're filming already stuff for it, but I'm not quite sure if the networks have. I think Nate's just providing his own footage, and they're gonna use some of that stuff. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, Nate's manager is more familiar with all that stuff. And me personally, I try not to get caught up with that side.
Yeah.
You know, because I want to really focus on like trying to get him ready. I don't want to get caught up with social media. Obviously, social media is driving this whole thing. But yeah, this is going to be another different experience that I'm going to go through.
Right.
Which could lead to
what's that?
Yeah. Which could lead to just so many more experiences too, you know?
Yeah. I mean, this is something that, you know, again, I'm going to learn a lot doing this, which I love. And me and Nate are going to be on a different level as far as the relationship we have going on. I told him, man, we got to really go through some breakthroughs to be really ready for this.
Is Nate the first guy? Cause I know you train in the boxing gym. Is this the first, guy you're getting ready for a fight, or you've had experience in doing these?
So I have had experience training fighters prior to training Nate. I've trained 2 professional boxers, but I've cornered and I was a secondary. So I acted as a strength and conditioning coach.
Okay.
Behind the boxing coaches.
Okay.
And so 2 pro fights. Not as big of a stage as this one. This one is a different stage. But yeah, local pro fights here. So I've experienced training camps being with them. But this one's a little different. This one's more like you're taking over this whole training camp.
Right.
Wow.
Obviously, there's a collective hands of people that are helping out as a team for Nate. But yeah, I mean, this one's a little different. I've had experience, but this one is going to be a new experience as far as being this type of stage and like really, really taking over and this training camp for a fighter.
That's so dope.
For the training camp, like when you and the team sit down with Nate, how do you guys prep that? Let me real quick, man. We appreciate you taking time out of your morning. This is actually the time that you and I we would do the HIIT workout, the full body weight workout. We used to do at 10 o'clock. So I appreciate you canceling that for me.
It's coming back soon.
So how does that kind of work out? Because I know for one thing, I've trained basketball players and whatnot, but for boxing, how does that work? You guys, you and the team sit down with Nate and you guys go over like a schedule, I'm assuming. And how does that all come about? How do you know the exercises to do, the right training methods, kind of take us through that. Because, we're foreign to, we're basketball. So this is kind of foreign to Charlie and me. So, and most of our fan base is basketball. So, just kind of take it through.
But growing up in the 90s, Mike Tyson was everything, and then obviously, and then Roy Jones is like one of my favorite athletes ever too. So as like you mentioned, so I love boxing as well, but I, never got into it. So I want to hear about this too.
Yeah. And then, obviously, Chris, you and me, man, we're Pacquiao for sure. So it's like, but I don't know. I've only seen like the stuff I see on TV. Like I've watched the documentaries of like guys doing their training, but actually knowing somebody who's in the fire, it's just always been intriguing to me at least. Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, there has to be a schedule implemented, and this type of training is different for Nate. So prepping for this fight, he's more of like a fast switch athlete, right? This is an endurance. This is like a marathon, right? So boxing training requires a lot of building up his endurance besides all the little fundamentals of the little intricacies of boxing. But, we have him running early in the mornings. We have scheduled sparring sessions that we're implementing. We're kind of still in the beginning phases of everything. Mm-hmm. Looking closely at what he's eating and everything like that. Like there's a whole 9. But we have designated days for sparring and boxing technique, designated days for strength and conditioning. And the expertise that I have, it just goes hand in hand of what type of strength and conditioning to prescribe Nate for a fight like this. But yeah, it's right now we're just really trying to build. We have to groom Nate to actually be this is a pro fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he has to train to be able to, have long-standing endurance. So this is a different beast for him. But he's this Nate. He's up for the challenge. He doesn't back down. So that's the nice thing about him. He's been in. He knows how to handle pressure.
Yeah.
Being a professional athlete. But at the same time, I try not to. I still treat him as if he needs that motivation. It's a different ball game.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? And so, but yeah, everything's regimented, scheduled. Nothing's random. We're really looking closely on getting Nate, really ready for this fight. Really ready. So.
Man, that's dope, man. That's gonna be special, man. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I watched his little YouTube documentary the other day, and I'm like, man, I can't wait to see what Chris kind of sprinkles into all this and adds to it.
Yeah.
Man, that's exciting, man. Well, man, we just got a couple quick hitters for you, a couple questions that we ask pretty much all our guests. It doesn't have to be long-winded answers, just whatever pops in your head first. And so, being in the industry of, basketball, and it kind of ties into shoes, man. And, I know, didn't you used to work at a shoe store at Alderwood?
I was manager of Foot Locker in Bellevue Square.
Yeah, okay, so that's what it was. Bro, I know, man, we have this crazy connection from way back in the day. Okay, so what is your all-time favorite shoe?
All-time favorite shoe growing up as a kid, or just all time?
Of all time.
Well, I was a big Jordan guy growing up. And, back in the day, we didn't say the 7s or the 5s.
Yeah.
We used to say the new Air Jordan. You get the new Air Jordans? That's what we said as kids.
Yep.
And the shoe that I've always loved were the 6s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Retro 6. Because that was like one of my first shoes I actually hooped in. I think I was in like 3rd or 4th grade.
The black and red?
I held on to those things. Like, when you're about to go to school, like you wanted to show off your new kicks.
Yeah.
Your bed, and you just see your shoes you're about to wear the next day. Like, I think 6s have always been my favorite, like, shoe, like, as a kid of all time. It's Michael Jordan. And it's just because it's nostalgic to me as a kid.
Right.
Was it the black and red 6s?
Black, yeah. The infrared.
That was the first.
Classics.
That was the first Jordan I ever got too as a kid.
Yeah.
Classics.
Yeah, that
Classics.
was the kick that felt like, man, just throwing on those Jordan. I can't explain how you feel as a kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Having them shoes on.
I'll say I still got my original box.
Yeah.
That's my
Bring
original.
Bring them out. Let's see it.
Oh, I don't have them anymore.
Okay.
But I have the original box.
That's a GS box?
I was like, size 5Y.
Size GS. Yeah. When you had yours, did yours come all leather, or was still all suede?
Mine were still suede. Mine were suede.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember back then too, the 6s, they were like almost all leather. They had a couple of GSs, and it was back in that time. But yeah, I wore those things everywhere. My dad would be like, "No, you don't wear those everywhere. You need to wear those when you play." But I was like, "No, I'm wearing these everywhere." You know what I'm saying?
Same here.
Got to. Next one is, man, I know you're big into fitness, but when you and Maria, your wife, when you guys want to have a cheat day or something like that, what's your favorite restaurant? When you guys just want to splurge, just go to town. It can be fast food. It could be anything.
I mean, I love Mexican food. So, I don't know if you guys ever heard of this drive-in Mexican spot called El Rinconcito. It's in
El Rinconcito?
El Rinconcito. That's
yeah.
That's my jam, bro. I love that spot. I mean,
Okay.
It's that, or we get a good burger. I love going to Red Robin, bro.
Yeah.
Classic Red Robin burger.
Yep.
unlimited fries, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, a lot of people think like I diet every day. Like, no, man, I'm normal. I like pizza.
Right.
I like burgers. I snack on chips. You know what I mean? But I try to have a good balance, right?
Yeah.
I try to have a good balance. Obviously, I try to keep active and just be realistic. You know what I mean? I don't want to feel like I diet. You know, and I had a diet. I dieted for years doing bodybuilding. So you know, I like to live a little.
Yeah.
But I like myself a good burger. Honestly, Red Robin is my jam. Just you know, just
Which
simple.
one? With the egg on it?
The one with the egg, the Royal Red Robin burger, or the Whiskey River, the barbecue one.
Oh
Yep.
yeah, the Whiskey River. Whew.
Ooh, and the honey mustard sauce with them big fries.
That's it.
Yeah, keep them fries coming.
Man,
Yep.
back in the day when we were all growing up, man, the limitless fries used to be hella. Now it's like they give you 6 fries and
I know,
like,
and I'm like, that's it.
it's
Yeah.
like, come on, man. The next one is, man, I think you kind of alluded to this earlier, but who are your 3 favorite athletes of all time?
Roy Jones Jr.,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan, Kobe's right up there, but growing up, Michael Johnson.
Yeah.
Yep. He used to be the fastest man in the world.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, that's like growing up. Those are my 3 favorite athletes growing up, just because of the things that they've done.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
Obviously, Jordan was the upper echelon of, you know, Ali, of course, too. You know, being a boxing fan, but I really grew up kind of watching Tyson and Roy Jones. I love Tyson. Don't get me wrong.
Same here.
But Roy Jones just had just the way he was in the ring.
Yeah,
Like how fast he was, and he was real flashy.
little
I just
swag
love that
got him.
persona. And he was a Jordan guy. That's why I
Yeah,
love
I was
yeah.
gonna say.
That's why I
Turner.
like him too. I'm like, man, Roy Jones is he used to wear Jordan boxing shoes in the ring. I'm like, man, Roy Jones always comes fitted. Jordan
I was
sign
gonna
on his
say.
gloves. Like,
I know you had some of those shorts.
Yeah.
Some of those Roy Jones shorts that said RJJR on the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had with the big belt or the big waistband.
Yep. Man.
Those were hard.
Yeah, man. So those are my big you know, obviously later on in life you like certain athletes, but growing up, those are the athletes that really, really kind of inspired me.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And last one, man, you know, obviously us being a basketball podcast, NBA just restarted yesterday. Who do you got? Who do you want to win the championship?
Who do you want and who do you think?
I'm a Lakers guy, man. So, you know, I grew up in LA, California. I've always been a Lakers guy. I know I've always been a Jordan guy, you know. But during a time when I was growing up, the Bulls were just running the 90s, you know.
Yeah.
And so, you know, being in California, you know, we always went for Jordan, no matter who you went up against. You know what I mean? But you know, I'm rooting for the Lakers. You know what I mean? And it's funny because I've always been like, I don't want to say anti-LeBron, but I've always been questionable of LeBron sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right? And now that he joined the Lakers, I'm like, let's go, LeBron, let's go. But you know, I really got into LeBron James when he won his championship in Cleveland.
Yeah.
I was like, man, LeBron, okay, he's the real deal. I mean, I know I'm stupid to say he's not good, but you know, I compare him to Jordan. You know, when you're in that list of people who you compare, you know, and Jordan I put at the utmost high. You know what I mean? Right. So I'm naturally subjective, you know, but you know, I root for the guy. I love what he does outside of basketball too.
Oh, facts.
What he represents. He's an activist. I love what he does for his people. He's a family man. So I have, you know, I'm a LeBron guy. So I'm rooting for my Lakers. You know, I know he's got some competition. I know they had a close game yesterday with the Clips.
Yeah, man.
But he had the game winner.
Yeah, man. So
I missed
that game because I was working last night, but I saw the highlights. It was close, but yeah, I'm rooting for the Lakers. I know a lot of people like to hate the Lakers too, but you know, that's my roots. You know, I grew up in California. I came to Washington when I was 13.
Okay.
You know, stuck with it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man. Well, man, Chris, man, this has been This has been dope, man. It's been exciting. It's taken us out of our element, and we did something different today. We had to get in the mind of a trainer, a physical trainer who does the body side. There's basketball trainers and boxing trainers and all different types, but we had to get out of our element, and this has been dope. It's been a dope experience for us, and we can't thank you enough for your time. And
man, I appreciate you having me.
Man, we've been working on it, man. You and me.
I've been waiting.
I know, man. So we finally been able to do it. So that's the exciting part, man. But thank you, man. We appreciate it, man. To all our fans, to all our followers, man, go follow Chris. Man, he'll get you right, man. He has some stuff online. He does some virtual workouts, once he's gonna get those back in, but weekly workouts. He was doing them every Friday. Me and my son, we were active participants. I was always hitting him on the chat, just telling him like, man, just how much I appreciate it, man. So Chris, man, thank you. To all our fans and followers, go follow him on Instagram, and then please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and subscribe to YouTube once again. But for one more thing, everybody, man, as you guys see, I'm wearing this shirt that my cousin Shayla made for Breonna Taylor, man. Please, we need justice for her. And I can't reiterate that enough. It's been way too long, and we need this taken care of. It's a crazy time in our world, but, we demand justice for Breonna Taylor. So I'm wearing this in support of her and her family and the movement we need justice. So I just wanted to say that before we sign off. Yeah. Chris Denina, trainer, Filipino action figure, one of my homies. We appreciate it. Black Top Smack Top, man, we appreciate it.
Respect, man. Respect. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys having me.
All right, man. God bless.